Replay. Replay.
Let's not take the piss here.
Replay. Replay.
I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Hello and welcome to Hip Hop World Cup, the podcast that pits golden age hip hop tracks and albums against each other in a contest to find the ultimate champions. I'm your host Danny Phillips and you're listening to Hip Hop World Cup Replay, a highlight show looking back at the best matches from our first series. It's a bit like Match of the Day, if Match of the Day only showed highlights of one match that took place a few years ago. Anyway, the reason we're putting these replay episodes out is that in our first series we crammed 8 whole albums into each episode. That's a lot of discussion about hip hop. So we thought it would be a good idea to single out and revisit some of the individual battles from that first series. I'm back here in Zurich, sorting out a few more affairs related to our lease on the FIFA headquarters in Zurich. We had a custom-made bunker that we were using for our first series. Sadly, we are no longer allowed to use that, so I'm just back sorting out some of the paperwork. And catching up with my old mate, Sepp, who's still here, sort of doing the rounds, walking the corridors. We're about to revisit a match from our 1995 episode between Smif-N-Wessun's Dah Shinin and DJ Quik's Safe and Sound. While I was here, I nabbed my old mate Sepp Blatter to come in, sit down and provide his thoughts and analysis on this epic battle. Hi, Sepp.
Hello.
Great to have you here. So Sepp's going to be providing some insightful analysis of this match between Smif-N-Wessun and DJ Quik. He's also going to be sharing some thoughts about his time as FIFA president. So please stay tuned for that. If you want to hear that, by the way, hit the red button on your podcast app. You'll be able to hear that alongside our analysis and discussion of these albums. But either way, sit back, relax, enjoy this match from our 1995 episode. Peace.
So next out of the hats, thanks Jeff, it's Dah Shinin by Smif-N-Wessun. Okay. Here we're going up against Safe plus Sound, DJ Quik.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is
my
going
worst
to be
nightmare
so
has been
hard.
realised. My worst nightmare has been realised.
I'm glad it's kind of fallen like this, I think.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, I'm not. No, sorry, you say Smif-N-Wessun?
Yeah.
Yeah, Smif-N-Wessun and Safe and Sound.
Oh,
This is the. I wanted to see this as the final, but this would have been a good final. Anyway, right. Okay, so round 1, match 3. It's me first on this one. So DJ Quik and Smif-N-Wessun. Okay, this is my absolute worst nightmare come true. I absolutely adore both of these albums. You've got a classic kind of West Coast versus East Coast matchup again. Both great examples of the East Coast and the West Coast sounds. I'm going to start with DJ Quik. Bought this in Binary Star in Exeter in '95. I've got a really weird copy of it. It's got a back cover that's got no information on it. It's just a picture. It's really weird. Anyway, love this album. What I would say, the thing that strikes me most about this album, and always has done, is how musical it is. Like, DJ Quik is a very musical producer, hip hop producer. Like, he really has, he's almost like a jazz sort of R&B producer. He's very, very talented. His stuff just has an instant kind of real richness and quality to it. And I think he's described his own sound as being very pretty, which is, I think, is a really good sound. He says often people find his stuff too pretty, which I think is a really good describing it. I reckon as a producer he's as good as Dre, but I think his stuff's a little bit more nuanced and a bit more. I think it's more sophisticated than Dre's stuff. I think there's more to it, but ultimately I think Dre has a better sense of, bangers, sort of makes a proper kind of hip hop track, whereas DJ Quik's a little bit more nuanced and jazz orientated, let's say. This album for me is, it's my favourite DJ Quik album. It's amazing from start to finish. I don't think there's many weak tracks. A couple of weak tracks, where some of the sex tracks are a bit hard work. But I think generally it's a really, really strong album. I think it's one of the best West Coast albums ever made. I think he was associated with Death Row around this time. I know it's on Profile, but he started to just dip into the Death Row thing. Like, it's got Dollars and Cents on it, which was on the Murder Was the Case soundtrack. Standout tracks, I think, well, as I said, they're all good. For me, Something for the Mood is my absolute favourite of this album. I just think it's brilliant. It's really long. It's got flutes. It's got all sorts of synths in it. It's just a really, really great example of musicianship. Get At Me, the first track, I believe it's just comes in really strong, and I love how he's just kind of dissing all his old sort of camp mates. I think it's aimed at AMG. Get At Me. I think he's having a go at AMG. I think AMG did something bad.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he borrowed something off him and didn't give it back, so he'd write a rap about it.
But he does reference AMG elsewhere in the album, like in a positive.
Yeah, I'm confused because he mentioned.
I think he's on it.
Bitch better have my money and run and stuff like that. And I think he's having a go at somebody, but I'm not 100% sure. I should have looked into the backstory of that before we did this. But as a track, it's amazing. It's got that cameo sample on it. I think it's Rigor Mortis. It's such a great opening to an album. Like, it really gets you going. And from that, I don't think, it's just a complete ride through to the end of the album. So many great tracks on it. I also love Summer Breeze as well. I always love that one. Let Him Have It. It's a really, really, really good album from start to finish. I can't really fault it. Moving on to Smif-N-Wessun, I think, again, this is, if I had to draw up a top 10 albums of all time, it's in there. So we're dealing with two of my favourite albums of all time. This, again, if those aliens came down and said to you, look, we've heard a bit about these Beatminerz, give us an album to take away that represents their sound, I'd hand them a copy of this and say, look, this is the Beatminerz. This is what they do. Again, it's very much with those jazz samples, the filtered bass lines, but there's a real raw kind of dirtiness to their sound that really, really works. But it's just there's something about the way Smif-N-Wessun, they kind of flow on the beat, and it just suits that Beatminerz style really well. Really gritty, really raw. The flow, the interplay between them is amazing. In terms of standout tracks, I think Hallucination is one of my all-time favourite hip-hop tracks. Love that. Love the Mini Ripperton sample. And I just love the story they tell in it. Just love the beat. I think they must use that Whatnauts, Why Can't People Be Colours 2 break on every single track on this album. They know their drums, and they've got certain drums they love. Sometimes it's a little bit samey, but I love their production style. I love the beats they use. I love the samples they choose. It's got a bit of Black Moon on it, very jazzy, and it rounds out the album with PNC, Partners in Crime, which has a one-way sample on it, and I love that track. I love the original, but the way they use that sample is just incredible. So for me, this is going to be a really, really, really difficult decision. And I hate you, Steve and Jeff, for pulling these two out the hat against each other, because it means one of them's got to go home. One of them's on the plane early. I don't like that at all. So I'm going to sit and mull over it for a bit while I listen to both of you. But we'll have Steve next on this one.
Yeah, I think I feel same to you, Danny. This is another great matchup, and we know this World Cup was going to be just a bloodbath. Really, it's so hard to choose between some of these albums, and like you said, East Coast versus West Coast. Like the DJ Quik album, it's, I don't know. I think you two are much more familiar with that kind of the technical side of things, and but I don't know. I kind of even I could spot like all the kind of great samples that he used, and so that kind of like makes it really kind of enjoyable to listen to. It is really quite funky, and there's so many good tracks on there, and 2 or 3 classic tracks as well. It does, I think, peter out a little bit towards the end, and it's probably not one that you're going to want to play with your wife in the room. And he definitely loves himself, doesn't he? I mean, crikey, and it gets a little bit annoying how much he kind of goes on about it.
Wouldn't you, though, if you were that good at doing music? You'd love it.
Yeah, but I think I'd have enough self-esteem not to kind of like put it all over the records all the time. I mean, I don't know. So yeah, but great album. Definitely his best album. The Smif-N-Wessun album. It's just got such a great sound, and I think both of you probably know that this is definitely right up my kind of avenue in terms of what I love, the kind of more rough and rugged sound. But I guess also kind of similar to DJ Quik, some amazing choice of samples as well. I definitely don't think there's a bad track on this album, and Danny, it's really interesting to hear you say that you put this in your top 10 albums of all time. I think I probably underrated this album. I think this is the out of the whole of this World Cup, it's been the one album I've come back to and thought, even more than Big L, what an amazing album this is. And those two classic tracks, Hallucination and PNC, I just think are just on another level. But yeah, like so many of the good tracks on there, Recognise, Sandboy Burial, Bucktown. Bucktown's amazing as well, isn't it?
You've got Keep It Moving, Bucktown, and Stand Strong, all in a row.
Stand Strong.
And the ones either side of that are brilliant as well. So like, but then you get into that run of three, it's like,
well, Home Sweet Home's good. Let's Get It On. It's just a cracking album. So yeah, but because they're almost like kind of like they're opposite coast, opposite sounds. It's really hard to choose. It is really hard to choose between them. So yeah, I'm gonna have a bit of time to mull that over while Larry tells us what he thinks.
Yeah, I think I'm surprised actually, Steve, that not surprised, but I didn't think that you were so as into like the Quik album as me, and you're probably not into it as much as me and Danny, but it's nice to hear that you do really like it.
Yeah, I don't think I realised how much I liked it until I gave it another kind of listen, and it was like, yeah, one of those ones that I'd not that I slept on or anything like that, but I'd just forgotten that I liked it.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know sort of how it's regarded in the wider world, because in my mind I always kind of think that maybe like me and Danny absolutely love this album, but we're like somehow maybe the only people that really rate it. I never really see people talking about it particularly.
No, I don't. I think it's a slept-on album.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen much sort of love for it being celebrated in that way.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? But I think with both of these albums, I was listening to what you said, Danny, and was just thinking like these are the exact same things that I've got written down. But I think I'll start with Smif-N-Wessun, and for me, this is like the obvious kind of pairing for this would have been Mobb Deep. Like they're really, really similar albums, as I kind of mentioned earlier. But for me, I've always loved this one. It's a really cohesive sounding album, like thanks to the Beatminerz. I think a lot of the kind of best albums ever in whatever genre are so good because the songs were all kind of hewn from the same material, and that's like really the case here. I just kind of like the sort of template of their sound, like the atmospheric, dry, dusty, hazy kind of soundscape. Like when I first started making hip hop, like this was my template for doing it. This is what I was trying to kind of mimic. And it didn't really occur to me before today, actually, but that track that I sent you both the other day, like that is this album, like all over it. Like it just shows how deep in my kind of subconscious it is that I just make tracks that emulate it without even kind of thinking about it. So yeah, I mean, in terms of standout tracks for me, like Let's Get It On has got probably my favorite sample ever, like that mandrill sample. I love the kind of the track that it samples after the race is really great. The interplay between Tech and Steel is so incredible. I think kind of this album is probably my favorite ever example of two rappers like integrating in that way. I think, not that I'm like the biggest like Run DMC fan or know their albums well, but I'd say they're the only kind of duo that really match up like that kind of level of interplay. Maybe they're a bit better than Smif-N-Wessun, but Smif-N-Wessun are just absolutely great with it. There are no weak tracks on the album whatsoever. I think Home Sweet Home is probably my least favourite track. I don't think it's a particularly inventive way of kind of using that Roy Ayers sample. It's been done much better. So that's the only 3 out of 5 for me, but there are loads of 5s and 4 out of 5s. Tired of listening to, really.
I'm starting to think we might know which album has got the
unprecedented 4.75, was it?
Maybe, but we'll I'll save that information for later on, I think. But
not this one. Yeah, no, it would need more 5s.
Yeah, maybe it's got 5s. It's got 5s on it, definitely. Like Keep It Moving, absolutely love. But again, it's just sort of my my template, really. And it samples Paul McCartney drums, which you don't hear very often in hip hop.
Mama Miss America.
Mama Miss America, also used on Common. This Is Me, I think.
Is Me, yeah.
And probably some other stuff. So yeah, absolutely love that album, and yeah, it pains me to have to put it up against DJ Quik, because that's another album I'm just absolutely in love with. I actually, like, bizarrely, I found it quite difficult to properly gather my thoughts on DJ Quik, because, like, there aren't any standout tracks on the album. They're all good. There's, like, the only kind of bit that it really dips for me is, like, as alluded to earlier, like Let Me Eat It and Can I Eat It are just a bit kind of too embarrassing and juvenile to listen to. Even By Yourself and Can I Eat It is probably the weakest beat on the album as well.
Yeah.
But with that negative kind of side out of the way, I think I'd probably go as far as to say it's like musically the best hip hop album ever.
A bold statement.
It's bold.
Yeah, I think it's like you said. It's more of a sort of R&B kind of jazzy thing. I've put here that it's more of a kind of soulful funk album, basically. Like, there's no boom bap to it whatsoever. Like, the complete opposite of most of the other albums here, especially like comparing it to Dah Shinin, like we are here. But yeah, it's just on another level musically. Like, the musicians. It must have been like a really expensive album to make, I think.
Yeah.
I think, like, I don't know if I haven't got the line notes myself, but like Wikipedia says that it's got like 3 bass players on there, which
doesn't surprise me,
just kind of says it all. Like, the bass work on this, like, it's just impeccable throughout.
And it's got Rob Fonk's The Bacon on guitar.
Yeah, just incredible. It's kind of like that Dr. Dre method of working with musicians, taken to its logical conclusion, really. And as much as I love Dre, I just don't think, like you said, I don't think he's made an album as musically good as this before, even though he's kind of a more important producer to hip hop. I think Quik is just such an unsung hero of the West Coast, and this is the best thing he ever did, like both of you have said. It's just all the little details in there, just like listening to it critically today on a good pair of headphones, really kind of listening out. And there are things things I heard today that I've genuinely never heard before. And I sort of thought I knew the album inside out, but it's just so layered.
Yeah. And there's little things just like the scratching that it does on it. And there's the little, like from films and things like that. And
yeah,
the way it's all stitched together and they go in from one to the next, and
it just flows so well. It's just like, it's more like a kind of like a Parliament album or something like that. It's obviously really heavily influenced by Parliament and kind of similar kind of acts. But he's also got a really good voice, I think. I've always loved, like, ever since, like, the first track I heard of his was Tonight, which I heard on the old Pete Ton radio show, and I loved him, but like since day one, he kind of got a bit of an easy kind of sound. His voice
that kind
sort of nasal,
high pitched,
high pitched. But yeah, great rapper, like really good lyrical content. Like the whole album is just so summery as well.
Like, it's a very
pure summer album. Like Quik's groove being an obvious one, and something for the mood as well. You've also got like the digs at MC8, which are kind of just some of the best diss tracks since like the whole Ruth vs Death Row like episode. Like to have two solid tracks in a row, like Dollars and Cents and Let You Have It, both just aimed squarely at NCA, just completely audacious.
Yeah, one of the best diss tracks of all time. Yeah. Amazing
I just
stuff.
never tired of listening to the album. I didn't really kind of realise quite how much I loved it before kind of sitting down today to kind of review it, basically, and it is the 4.75 out of 5.
Oh, okay, so it's that one. Yeah.
There's just pretty much everything is a 5.
Okay, wow, this is strong. This is strong.
The only bits like Digging You Out 4.5, It's Your Fantasy 4.5, Tangeray 4. The rest of it, it's just perfect. Like the way kind of Street Level comes back at the end with like Hurrah for the Funk, like the instrumental of that, but with the kind of additional instruments at the end. It's just love it so much. It's great.
All right, well, let's should we move this along then, lads? Let's see let's do our vote. Let's put it to the vote. I think it's pretty clear what you're going to go for, Larry. I think where I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to consult Real Rank on this. Whereas I totally agree with you, Larry. I think DJ Quik is a really, really strong album, like almost perfect in terms of that West Coast, that musicality. I just think that Smif-N-Wessun, I think it's a better hip hop album. I think it meant more to me back then. I think, and there are more replayable. I used to replay those tracks more than I did DJ Quik, even though I love both of these albums.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Smif-N-Wessun is going to get my vote on this one.
Okay.
I have that at the top of my ranking system. So yeah, that's my vote. So that's one for Smif-N-Wessun.
Go on, Larry. You go, and I'll do the casting one.
I think just go. You heard how enthusiastic I was about this, and it is DJ Quik, but it really pains me to not vote for Smif-N-Wessun. Like, there are not many albums that would beat out Smif-N-Wessun for me, and it's a shocker. It is like definitely one of my favourites. It's definitely a favourite New York album, really influential on kind of what I do. But Quik has just got too many good. It's a feel-good album, but Smif-N-Wessun isn't really. And that's, I think, why I kind of favour it.
Yeah, interesting take on that. Yeah, I mean, it's such a difficult choice for me, but this is huge now because it comes down to Steve's vote on this one. And this is like Brazil, Germany in the World Cup finals. A big gun's going to have to go out.
A big gun is going to have to go out. And that's the beauty of World Cup hip hop, isn't it? That's what I keep saying. So
absolutely.
So for me, the only way I can decide this, I think, is my personal taste. They're two really great albums, really enjoyable, both of them. But my personal tastes are more with Smif-N-Wessun. I think I prefer the sound of the album. I think I prefer the tracks, and I think there's more classic tracks on there. So I'm sorry, Larry. Dah Shinin is gonna score a goal here, and they're gonna go through.
Yeah, I can't really feel bad about it. Like I love this album as well. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it was another high scorer for me.
It's brutal, isn't it? This is a brutal World Cup.
Absolutely brutal. It's really sad to see DJ Quik go, but someone had to. This is almost like one of those sort of went out on penalties. It was 0-0 all the way through, like a war of attrition.
I think if you put it to a public vote, 100 random hip hop fans of our kind of vintage, I think Smif-N-Wessun would probably go through.
Yeah,
they're not going to be tearing up the seats and stuff and rampaging down.
No.
Down the streets at this verdict. I think it's the right outcome, but it's just sad that one of my favourite albums from this year has had to go out at such an early stage.
That's it. I hope you enjoyed that epic battle. Let us know what you think on X, Instagram, Threads and Blue Sky. Just search at Hip Hop World Cup. Give us a follow and let us know you're listening. Also, please subscribe and leave us nice 5-star reviews on Spotify, Apple or your podcast platform of choice. We also have a YouTube channel, so please check us out on there. But that's it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you for our next replay. Peace.
Good looking boy.